Here's a new set of patch notes from the pre-patch podcast. Check it out.
I do want to talk about Remnant first, as it kind of
Okay.
came out first, and then we will talk about um, Baldur's Gate 3 as it was obviously just released. So we all have played um, Remnant 2. Bill, you've put in probably, well, you and Enigma have put in the most time for sure
Right.
into the game, correct?
I think I have 24 hours on it right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Enigma's put in more time than I have. I've probably put around 12.
Okay. And you're playing solo mainly, Bill?
Yeah, I tried to play co-op and it didn't work out well. I do
Okay.
plan on playing co-op with a few of my PS5 friends, but the PC, at least with my PC right now, it's not it's a no go.
You were saying that
Um,
you were
Something
having
weird about that, man.
some
Like, I don't
Doesn't
issues.
know.
make any
I
sense. It
I'm
really doesn't
sad
make any sense.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
Because
sad
both
too.
myself and Bill have pretty much comparable PCs. Like there's a little bit of a difference between the two of us. I think I have a
Yeah.
little bit better CPU than he does, but predominantly most of our PC is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And
And I even
he's
have a
having
little
such
bit
a
of
drastic
I
worse
mean, yeah,
PC,
you
and
you were
I'm still
watching as it was
yeah,
happening,
he's
so
having such a
yeah.
drastic change. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just like fucking
regardless,
shaders or what, but yeah.
yeah,
It's
I've been playing mainly solo on the PS5 and having a very good experience with it there. The PC, if you go through the Steam reviews, it's got notable PC performance issues depending on
yeah.
people's rigs. I don't know what's wrong with my rig that's causing it, but I was fine in the tutorial. There's a little bit of lag in the hub world when everybody loaded in, but as soon as we loaded into the Fey area, we loaded into the castle with everybody with his glowing wings and stuff. Um, it went to
Shit
shit. It was
fan.
like it
Yeah.
was like dropping like below 30 FPS, very
wow,
inconsistent.
that's
Like
crazy.
Yeah.
2 to 3 second stutter periods. I could not effectively
It's
play the game,
weird.
so I had to refund it on PC.
It's very
Wow,
weird.
wow.
I don't know what's going on with it. I will say that there is a lot of people that are having issues with it,
Yeah.
performance wise on
Yeah,
PC,
it probably just
which
needs
is
some early
it's not
patches
shocking.
to
Yeah,
optimize the PC port because
Yeah.
it
I mean
seems
I've not had
it's
performance issues per se, but I've had some graphical issues,
yeah, same
just
here.
weird little things. So they just need to clean it up a little bit. It seems.
It's
Nobody's
not
really surprised
surprising.
that it's a
Yeah,
broken PC port. We don't
so
get
that's
good
what I was gonna
PC
Yeah,
say.
ports
We
because
these
it was
hardly ever
days.
get any
definitely
good PC
developed in the
ports these
mind
days.
of consoles.
Yeah.
That's
That's
apparent.
that's the main reason why I buy stuff on PS5 these days. That plus I can get a disc. So but I've been having a really good time with it in the solo. I picked the handlers that way I could have a doggo, split aggro a little bit, and I have a doggo, so it was a no brainer, honestly.
Good solo class.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah, no,
what? Yeah,
it's a
what
good
are
time.
everybody's thoughts? I mean, I've played the least of this. Yeah, I did play some, not much. I mean, we didn't even get through the first, I think, even level that night that I was playing with you guys.
We get close.
So
That boss was the end boss for
that
that
boss is
area.
fucking
Tough
rough,
boss.
man. Like it
Yeah,
is insane. So
I mean,
um, yeah, good.
did you have anything else to say? Or
No, I was gonna the limited amount of stuff that I was gonna say kind of about this is if you never played Remnant 1, I think, and coming into to play Remnant 2, I think it'll be you're probably in for a really good treat. Not nothing, and I don't want to say I don't think there's anything bad about this game like that I've experienced so far, right? The little bit I've played. It's a shooter, it's fun. What they did on the first one, they just basically amplified that, but it does feel in my mind very, very, very close to the first one. Like that's my only kind of restraint, which the few changes I wanted were just mild things. But you guys go ahead. Like I said, you've put more time into it, so
yeah, I mean, I was just gonna bring up. I think that the biggest issue that both you and Scruffy, I think I can speak for both of you is like, I think you guys were kind of looking forward to it being more of like a
RPG, like
random like
ARPG kind of.
ARPG, yeah, like
Yeah.
random stats, everything like that, with the weapons and everything, and yeah, it would have been great. I think that would have been an awesome addition because it would have definitely helped with replayability because I've been watching and playing with Crow Templar a couple times, and like he's done with the game. I think he put in it's like a 30 some odd hour. If you do everything
It's
in
about
the
the
specific
first one
areas,
too,
yeah.
I believe.
So
So
it's not
comparable to the
terrible, but
first. Yeah.
like that's the one thing that I can say is that like replayability with this can comparison to like Remnant One. I feel like this has a lot more content in each map zone compared to Remnant One. Remnant One, like you had usually you had like maybe 2 variations on bosses for each map. On this one, there's like 3, 4. So they've added a good 50% more content on each map,
Can I
roughly.
put a note in there too because
Yeah, go ahead.
you had sparked a thought? Is I feel like the maps also feel less linear than the first one.
For
Maps
sure.
are
And
the maps
I
are
feel like they're
huge.
bigger. I
Yeah.
feel like they're a lot bigger than they
Bigger,
were.
and they
Yeah,
split off into multiple areas that you can
for
pick
sure.
and choose
Yeah.
what you want to do. So that's a plus.
I will say one of the best parts about Remnant, and I will say this from the first one, and they've drawn it back over into Remnant 2, is the fucking puzzles, man. The puzzles are legitimately some of the
Yeah, those
best
are
that
definitely
I've
fun,
played
for sure.
in a very long time. Remnant 1 had great puzzles. This one, they just exponentially better in all aspects for the most part.
Yeah.
There are a couple of like little instances where like there's I don't know if if it's a bug or if it's like a situation of just like we weren't able to out DPS it, but that we did run into one. You remember that sewer level that we went to, Scruff, the
Yeah.
other night, where we found that the glowing numbers on the wall?
Yeah.
That myself and Crow were doing that same sewer, and it had a differentiation in it. It had a boss mob in it that was like those those were rats or whatever they're called. You know, the big
Yeah.
bulking rat dudes.
I fought one of
We
those. Yeah.
yeah, we
Fun.
we had one. Granted, we were playing on Apocalypse, and he was like 30 levels above me, obviously. So you know, take that as you will. But we
Well,
were
you've
not able to
unlocked Apocalypse
DPS.
already?
He has, yeah. I was playing
Oh, okay.
on his because he's beat the game already. So
Gotcha.
but w- we were playing that, and then we were fighting that monster, and every time we would get it to a certain point in health, it would run away, run into one of those sewer grates, and then heal completely back up and come back out.
Oh wow.
So
Sorry,
it
just
was
like cheese.
I don't know if
just-
I don't know if it was like a bug
We're
that it
getting
was
Chat-
healing
chat's-
completely,
chat's saying
or
it's
if
a
it
bug.
was
saying
more
that
of
it's a bug.
yeah. So if it's a bug, then that makes a lot more sense. But yeah, we were
Yeah.
just getting completely wrecked by that, and that was the first time really with Remnant 2 that I felt like
That's the thing
like,
is
damn,
it's
this
probably
fucking
making you think
sucks,
like
you
what are
know?
we doing wrong? Like how do we
Yeah.
stop it from
No,
it's-
100%. Because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, maybe it's because I'm in here. Maybe I'm making
Yeah.
the entire thing harder for these guys, you know? So I dipped out, and they were like, nah, that didn't help at all. Like, in fact, it probably made it worse.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing like kind of concern that I had with it. But like
Yeah.
in conjunction to like the randomness and like the ARPG feel and wanting those random bits of like re-rolls on weapons and everything like that, I was kind of in that same vein as you guys were, where I was like, I think that would be a good addition for them. I still think it would be a good addition for them. I'm really hoping that
You don't
they at
think it would
some
be too
point.
much?
Well, that's what I was about to say. I still think it would be a good point for them to look at, but I also think that like the game as it is with all the puzzles, they've added a ton of weapons, they've added a ton of armors. Like the first one didn't have a lot in the way of weapons, right? This
Right.
one I feel has a lot more weapons and armor.
I mean,
So you
even
have a
from
lot
just
more
the store that
customization.
you can buy,
Yeah.
I think the store in the hub world that you can buy weapons from has the same amount of weapons that the base game had overall.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's one of those things where I understand where you're coming from, but I also look at it as like they added more weapons, they added more armor types. I also feel like they have a lot more customization with the archetype system, the
Yeah.
class system that they added in. That offers a ton of customization because not only on top of your weapons and armor, now you have an entire class that does things differently, and they have a ton of archetypes. I am so shocked with how many archetypes they actually have. I If you guys don't want spoilers, click away right now. Obviously, I'll only be like a minute, maybe two, talking about these archetypes. But you know, I'm giving you fair warning. Spoilers are ahead, so we'll give you like a couple of seconds until the end of me talking. Essentially, that we'll do that. So, one archetype that I was really impressed with is the Archon archetype. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet or not, or if you
Is that
guys
the summoner?
no. The Archon is like an end game archetype. Okay, the Archon, in order to get the Archon, you have to do you have to like wear a very specific set of gear, right? You have to wear Ford's gear, you have to wear corrupted gear, and you have to do a certain specific type of progression, right? In order to open this. the the developers have actually come out and said that basically the only way that they expected people to find out about the Archon is for data mining, right? By doing data mining, they said that there was no way that they could fight against people data mining. So in
Mhm.
order to basically reward people for data mining, they made a class that like breaks the entire game. Archon, to get into Archon, you have to go into the back rooms. They actually have a back rooms level,
What
a
do you mean,
yellow
like,
back
as in
rooms level.
reward? You mean like a way to spot data miners?
No, a way
No,
to
they
reward them.
did to
They
They're
reward
rewarded
actually
them.
them.
Yeah.
rewarding data
They
miners.
they
Oh,
they
okay.
rewards data miners for data mining that by with the information of how to obtain this specific class, right? And again, in order to get the class, you have to wear a specific set of equipment, and then you can open up the back rooms. We've talked about the back rooms before. That yellow
Yeah.
like dingy.
Oh yeah,
That's a level in this game.
that's in this. That's pretty awesome. I'm gonna immediately need to go there.
So it's crazy, man. They've got a lot of different. If you guys haven't, come on back. We're done spoilers. There's
done.
there's a ton of there's a ton of
Give a signal.
new archetypes. So
Is
I
it?
am
And
very
that's
impressed.
beyond just the base class. that
That's
you
beyond
have-
just
you
the
have to-
base
you have to, like,
classes.
unlock
That's
them.
stuff that you have to unlock
Mhm.
through doing like quests. Like me and Scruffy were on a quest the other night that unlocked one that was like an
That
entire.
we didn't unlock.
We
but
haven't
were
done it
on a
yet,
quest
but
to
we're on a quest to
unlock it,
do so.
yeah.
We're almost there, but like yeah, we played for like what, like a 45 minutes to an hour doing that, just that that
Oh,
specific
just
quest
that,
line.
yeah, hour or so.
Because we went up in the
definitely.
tower and then we went into the sanctorium or whatever it was, and we were doing all that shit. So
Yeah. So
Yeah.
but
Well, that- I mean,
I'm
that's
extremely
cool.
It's cool.
impressed with it, man.
Yeah,
I am
man.
extremely
it's
impressed
getting
with it.
great ratings. I mean, I know that. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I know minus the bug issues that or playability issues and some things, but like, I think it took
the game itself, yeah, it's pretty solid.
originally
Man.
the original game took 4 months, if I'm not mistaken, to get, or 3 months or something like that, to get to 4 million units sold, and this did it in 3 days.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's doing extremely well.
Well,
and I'm-
the original also wasn't on consoles, was it? I didn't think it was.
It was on consoles.
no, it was on consoles.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I again, and I don't want anybody to think to be, because I'm saying this, like it when you play it, it's it feels good, it's fun,
I'll give
very
my
challenging.
thoughts real quick too, because I'm in agreement with you for the most part too, Sin, because I also do feel like Remnant 2 does feel like just an extension of the first Remnant, but I'm not even saying that in a bad way. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think that's a very good thing. It should feel like the first Remnant, just with more. And of course, I was also a proponent on wanting them to do that kind of like randomized style. I think it would have worked, especially for a sequel. But the fact that they didn't, and they just added a lot more content to the game too. I mean, there's still enough for you. There's still enough for everybody to enjoy this game. I don't think, it's a bad thing that they didn't choose to do this. I think they had their eyes set, and they wanted to go a certain way with this game.
Right.
I think they nailed it, honestly.
One thing I'll interject in there as well is like I think so this is not, I mean it is this, it's a second version of Remnant, right? But this is not the second game that they've made specifically in the Remnant genre, right?
Right.
It's the
They
third.
made
It is the
it
third.
is the third. The second
Yeah.
game they made in the Remnant genre, this and this is I can't prove it, but maybe this is why they didn't go down that route of like changing it up super much from the original Remnant one, like architect style and gameplay style, right? The second game that they made, they changed up so much. It was more of a Souls like game with melee
Yeah.
only, and I think it did not do well. Like
You
it
mean
did
the
not.
first
It was
one?
not received
like
well.
like not even Remnant.
The
Well, you mean the
pre
one-
to
the pre-
Remnant, yeah.
Yeah.
The second
Yeah.
game they made, the prequel to Remnant,
Wasn't it called
was
From the
a
Ashes or
completely
something
different
like
game.
that?
I think so. It
Chrono-
was
the
something
Remnant
weird.
from the Ashes was the one with the shooting. Chronos before
Chronos,
the Ashes
yes,
was
before
the
the Ashes was the
Yeah.
Souls like melee
and
only.
Chronos before the Ashes came out before Remnant from the Ashes
it?
did. It was
I
it was
thought that it
actually the
released
original.
after.
They
No.
re-released it on VR.
Are you sure?
Yes,
Yeah.
it came out in
Okay.
2015. Remnant from
Okay.
the Ashes came out in 2019. I
I'll,
Yeah,
I'll
'cause you know
believe
what?
you. I'll believe you.
I had never even heard of Remnant. I never even heard of that before the Remnant from the Ashes came out. And then I realized, like, oh,
Yeah, Remnant
they-
from
they
the
made
Ashes
another-
2019.
Well, that
Or the, yeah.
that kind of fucks my
So
idea.
it's
then.
just been an evolution from that point.
I mean,
2016
yeah.
was when Chronos before the Ashes, and you're right. It was just your it was almost generic to a point.
Yeah,
Souls-like
they made
style
a
game, and it
major
did not review well.
upgrade.
It's got a 6 out
Yeah.
of 10
it
on
didn't
Steam
it
right
didn't get
now.
reviewed
From
well
Before
at all.
the
Yeah.
Ashes to From the Ashes, it was a major upgrade from what I understand. And that honestly, I can also see that being a reason why they didn't change it up from Remnant from the Ashes
It's
to
very
Remnant 2
possible. Yeah,
is they had a formula and why
they just wanted to
you
stick to
know
it.
Well, I
yeah,
just
why
Honestly,
stick to it,
as well,
don't fix what's not broken,
like balancing and everything like that when it comes to these kinds of games, and when it comes to like the ARPG style, I think it would be more of a headache for them than just putting whatever was in the game, making it decently powered, and going with it. You
yeah,
know,
Yeah.
to
that's
me,
my opinion at least.
and I don't know. I feel like they
I
could
think it
have
would have
kept.
been bloat.
I don't know. To me, I think they could have kept everything the same, the
Some
exact
of
way that they're doing, and just the
I
weapons
don't
that you
know.
drop make it.
I don't
just
know
random.
about bloat. I don't know about bloat, but I think it would have been just artificially like extending gameplay in the
Yeah,
long
because
run.
some of these things are so hard to get one
Yeah.
of, like, that it would take you
Well,
like
that's
hours to be able
yeah,
to get one of these,
that
and then you would
class.
have to do it over and over again with no guarantee that you would get that spin on it again.
Yeah, that
Or
class that class that we were talking about just barely, not the first one, but the one that me and Scruffy were doing in the asylum right there, right?
yeah,
Like that was an hour of gameplay time essentially, and we still don't have it completely, you know.
yeah,
yeah.
And honestly, if I didn't know that class was there, I would never know. Like there's nothing pointing me in the direction that hey, there's a class here, you know, or
right.
there's an unlock here, you know. So
Yeah, I don't know.
I
yeah.
and I
Either
do
way,
want
the
to I
product
do want
that we
to
got is a solid product. I don't
I
think
understand where you're coming
yeah.
from. Like I think that I would have been very happy if it was like that. Like I would have been very happy if it was more of an ARPG, but I'm very
Yeah.
happy with how it is right now. I think that
Right.
the attention to detail that they put in with a lot of the weapons and armor sets, it really shows. Whereas like I think that maybe if they went down the action RPG route where it was just kind of a random like a random chance at getting a certain specific style, type of weapon with random
yeah, they would
affixes
have to do
or
it as like random drops from
yeah,
things instead of
it
having
would
a
just be a little
specific.
weird.
Yeah,
It wouldn't be more centered. Like it wouldn't be more specified to
Yeah,
the
and I
area.
guess this way too. There is a point to be made that they have more control over the balance of the game.
right.
With,
That's what I was
with
saying
that kind
earlier.
of system. Yeah, there would be a lot of balancing issues depending on like certain roles of weapons and whatnot.
Then again, really like with balance with this game, it's I personally don't really feel that they care. Like some of these weapons are extremely overpowered.
It's only
The
in
bows,
certain situations. I remember in the first one there was some balancing issues, and
yeah.
they responded to
Well,
it. I remember
they're gonna balance
the
things
beam
specifically
rifle,
for
bro. It's thing
yeah.
shredded.
They're gonna balance things specifically for like
Yeah.
things that are extremely overpowered. But like these guys, I don't want to do a dig at D4, but like I'm gonna have to. Like D4 is so fucking in there with like we need to make sure everything is balanced. When you don't, just
Yeah.
make it feel good. Like if your player feels powerful and it's a little OP,
And the thing is, too,
who
you get to a
fucking
certain
cares?
point of like a balancing hell of where
Yeah.
you're trying to fight fire with fire the entire time,
Exactly.
and all you're
Yeah.
doing is just adding more fuel to
I
the
don't-
fire.
I don't want this to be like a Borderlands situation where
Yeah.
Very true.
because Borderlands is guilty of that too, where they find fun and kill it.
Borderlands
because
is definitely bloated as well. Like a lot of
And
their
it's
stuff, it's
bloat.
just so much.
Yeah.
There's just
Yeah.
so fucking much.
I will
think it would
say
have been a
they
fun aspect, but
Oh my god, everybody shut up and let Bill talk. Bill's been trying to say this one fucking statement for 40 minutes.
Go ahead, Bill. Say it.
You're okay. Bill.
they have added a bit
So
of
I get no.
they have added a bit of randomness. They took the stats off of armor outside, like the special stats, where like the gear sets had like
Mhm.
special bonuses.
Yeah.
Like like you could carry more, or you would
Yeah.
do more melee damage, stuff like that. They took that off of gear, and they did make it so that you randomly get from chests and from bosses and stuff like that. Relic pieces
Modifiers
that will modify your build. So there is a random
Oh, I guess I
aspect
didn't notice that.
in
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's a random
for your
aspect in
heart.
that, and that
Yeah.
is entirely
Yeah.
random. They come in different rarities, they come in different typings.
And
So
some
like
of them are
crit
really cool.
damage.
So some
Well,
of them are
and
really
hey-
cool. There's one that like generates shields and shit. Which
Yeah,
is
maybe
I think
Yeah.
is really
that's
dope.
just enough of what we needed.
Yeah. Plus they make it so that your relic, which is your healing item, you can change out with different style
Very
builds
true.
too,
Yeah.
depending on what you get. So that
Again, there's
combined with
like a heart
the
that has like a shielding aspect to it too.
yeah,
And
that
I
combined
found
with
that
the
really
different
cool.
armors, which the armors are based purely off of weight and resistances now, and fashion, of course. The
Hmm.
static weapons, but some of them taking a while to get. Um, and the class system, which you unlock more classes as you go. I think there's a lot of build variety here, and I think having any
For
more
sure.
would create it would be funky to
What
say
if
the least.
what if they?
I
Oh, good.
good.
I was gonna say, what if they were to, instead of adding random drops as far as weapons, to make it to where the bosses that you encounter at the end are randomized, right? Like
They do
that
that
those.
They do
kind of.
that already.
Okay, well, so what if the all right? Well, do they randomize the
I
item
mean,
that
the
drops
boss.
off of the weapon, off of that
Well, no,
boss?
you get different weapons based off of how you kill the bosses in some instances,
Yeah,
just
like in
like
the
in Remnant One.
yeah, like in the
Right,
first
you
game, you
cut
had the
off the
dragon. If
tail.
if you killed the
Yeah.
yeah, if you cut off the dragon's tail, you got a sword. If you killed the dragon regular, you got a
The
SMG.
ham.
So there's
There's
different
there's one
variants of kill.
there's one early game that like if you kill it a certain way, you get a rifle. If you kill it a different way, you get a melee weapon. And if you kill it a
Didn't
different
they
way, you
have
get
it
an
where
amulet.
that boss would always spawn with that map? No, like it wasn't, the boss wasn't.
No,
I
there
thought,
there
You're
there were
saying,
was there?
different
There
there
was
were
different
different bosses with the
Yeah.
maps. Yeah.
There just wasn't a lot
there's
in
still
Remnant
there's
1.
still a select number of
Yeah.
bosses per map, but it's randomized per map. But like
Yeah.
one boss on like the sewers is not going to appear on the castle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a minute since I played Remnant 1, so
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
to
It's
remember
fair.
back to it.
Same. Yeah.
There's enough variety, I think, that you can really sink your teeth into it. The only downside, and I've heard this from several people, is that they neutered build variety in that they limit you to 60 trait points, whereas the original game you could have
Yeah, I had heard
What
that.
what
yeah.
pretty
about-
much infinite trait points.
Infinite.
What
That's
about the
yeah.
dog though? Is the dog neutered too, or no?
I would assume not. You need that testosterone to have that
Yeah,
killing edge. You know what I
Can we
mean?
get
Yeah,
can we get a
I'd hope
zoom
not,
really quickly?
right?
Can we
Oh
pause
my
and get a
Yeah,
zoom
yeah.
on the
God.
dog there? There's
I-
No.
Sin might know
No, you
better
cannot.
now.
But that's probably the biggest, besides the performance issue on PC, that is probably the biggest flaw that I have heard with the game,
I
is
did-
that the trade system is extremely limiting. You can only get, if you wanted to max out traits, you only get 6 traits that you're able to max out per character. You can re-roll them, but
It's expensive,
limiting
isn't it?
yourself to 6 traits is
Is there 24 traits in total?
yeah,
just
that
going
whole
off
that
this
whole
open
that whole
slot, so I
screen,
figured.
I'm assuming, is all the slots for
So
traits.
20
Yes.
Isn't
24,
it
so 6
expensive
out of
also to
24.
respect? Like I heard there was a big
It's
complaint about-
expensive to do a lot of things in this game, like scrap and like the irons, like the forged iron or galvanized iron. It's extremely expensive to do a lot of things with
Yeah.
the weapons and everything. So
Yeah,
it's
right
kind of
there
like
on the
D4.
video. I just got one of the random
Yeah.
relics from that chest.
It's kind of like D4. The further up you get, the more expensive it is to upgrade shit. So
Yeah.
Okay.
And some of these traits are like very basic but very necessary, like max health, max stamina, cooldown reduction, like the generic
Weapon-
stuff that you're going to
weapon
want on every
distance,
single
yeah.
build. You can't really branch out unless you want to go extremely niche and leave yourself in a detriment in a different category. 60 is not enough. The developers have said that they are going to potentially look into increasing this, but as of right now, 60
mean,
is it. And
you
it's
really
not
you
enough.
really just go over to Nexus Mods. They've got a mod for it already. So
Yeah, Nexus mods. But that's, again, if your PC version works, and if you're
Yeah,
a console
very true,
player, you're
very true.
not.
If you're a console pleb,
Shit, I don't know.
sorry,
Listen,
Bill.
I got a disc. If Y2K happens, I can still play this.
You can still play it as long as you
Yeah.
have electricity.
As long as I have electricity, I can get a Jenny and play Remnant 2 on my
Yeah.
PS5.
I've had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, I've put about 24 hours into it. I'm nowhere near finished. I think 20 hours. That's me. 20 hours is me playing with you guys.
What difficulty are you playing
and
on again?
I am playing on the secondary difficulty because fuck apocalypse difficulty. The game is already.
You're not
hard
playing
enough.
on Nightmare. You're playing on the one underneath that.
I'm playing on the
Veteran.
secondary difficulty, veteran. Yeah, whatever it is. So
Gotcha.
there's I think
How
there's
have you felt the
beginner or whatever
difficulty
it
is
is.
so far? Because I feel like this
I
game's
think-
significantly harder than
It
what
is
Remnant 1 was.
100% so much
Yeah.
harder than like Remnant. The hardest difficulty in Remnant for me is like veteran difficulty.
What about
for
you,
me.
Sin? Do you think the game's harder?
No, it's easy mode.
I
It's easy
forgot
mode.
about that. Yeah. The
Okay,
first
that-
night that
that
we
boss-
played it,
that
fucking
boss
Sid
is
is like, bro,
bullshit.
this game is so easy while we're fighting trash
We're
mobs
in, like,
essentially.
the first like 15
Yeah.
minutes of the game.
He's like, this game fucking sucks. It's so easy.
I
I
didn't say
hate
it
this
sucks.
shit.
I didn't say it sucks. I never said it
Didn't say
sucks.
but he
Yeah,
just said it's easy
I just
mode,
said it's easy
bro.
mode.
Like, let's amp it
Um,
up.
It's just
What,
that,
what
that
difficulty
boss
were
is
you
bullshit.
playing on?
And then we
Veteran?
got
I
our
wanted
shit
I,
kicked
I
in
wanted
by
to play on
Veterans.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
been
we
playing
were-
And
solo
honestly-
on Nightmare.
And honestly,
See, Bill's a
co-op,
real man.
And honestly, co-op, we probably could have boosted it up to Nightmare because I do know that
still
it
scales.
it scales with co-op depending on the amount of people that you have. And
Yeah.
one complaint I do have is that you can only have 3 people, and I think that was the same in the first one.
It was, yeah.
Which
I'm
which
sure that's
they've-
for balancing issues.
well, that's what I was about to say. They've addressed already, which they basically said, well, we tried 4. 4 felt decent, but it still felt a little too easy with 4 people, so we balanced towards 3. That was why
Yeah.
they chose 3. So
And hell, again, if 3's not enough, just download the mod on Nexus.
just
for
download the mod and
16.
you can have 16. Yeah.
Holy shit! I can't
As long-
even
as long
as you're on
imagine
PC.
16 people running around in this game.
Yeah. Yeah,
Does
but
it
I've been
continue
playing.
to
I've been.
amp?
I don't know if
I
the
don't know.
mod amps the difficulty or not.
I don't think so. No. The mod
So you
does
can just
not.
have
It's
mindless fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Nightmares
yeah.
felt like a decent challenge. It definitely was a big learning curve right off the go. My first day of playing it, I think I only cleared 2 areas, like
Are-
not even like a world, just
are
like
you
2
playing Veteran?
segments. No, I'm playing Nightmare.
That's what I thought. I was like, I thought that you were
Yeah.
playing Nightmare.
I'm playing Nightmare. I can not imagine doing Nightmare solo without the handler class because the dog is so useful for
Yeah.
gathering aggro. It
Very true.
actually there's a variant of the dog that exclusively like it's able to take more damage and it also builds tank dog. Yeah, it builds up aggro and takes more damage.
Tank dog.
There's also healer dog and an attack dog, which I haven't unlocked attack dog yet, but
The
Bounds.
the handler seems like a really good class. I've played it a little bit, but I went gunslinger, and I've been loving gunslinger. Ever
I will
since,
say
like,
for mobs, the handler is amazing. For
Yeah.
bosses, not so much because
Not so
once the
much,
dog is
yeah.
down, you're basically a Remnant 1 character with no other perks.
for
Because
sure,
all of
yeah.
your perks are built around being in proximity to your dog or working with your dog.
Like
If the dog goes down,
is your
you
trump
you,
card
Well,
pretty
you
that's-
much.
lose
that's
all
where-
those benefits.
Yeah.
That's where your double being able to have 2 classes comes into play. I think.
Yeah.
Once you get to that point, I think it'll be a little bit easier for you. Because like when I went from being just a straight gunslinger and then I picked up a hunter as well. That just furthered my damage output essentially. With everything that I was already using. So
Right. But it's felt good. It's felt
I've
I
been enjoying
haven't
it. man.
had too many issues on Nightmare. I did spend 35-ish minutes on a boss. I don't know if any of you have come across the Huntress in the Fey area.
No, I haven't come off
No,
on there yet.
I don't believe
Um,
so.
It was the most difficult boss that I've had. It's a unique boss, so it's not like a reskin of a normal enemy built up to a boss.
That is one thing
very-
I will say with a lot of the bosses too, is like they could have went down the easy route and just reskinned like mobs that they had in the world, but pretty much every boss so far that I've run into feels unique. So
Yeah. Boss design's good. Area design's really good. I've played 2 different variants of the Fey area, and one started me out like in the streets and the sewers and stuff, and the other one started us out in the castle where we were actually talking to like the Fey council and stuff. So
Yeah.
it sets you on completely different paths. One's like Bloodborne horror-esque, and then the other one's like high fantasy. It's
Sure.
and this is the same world. It's really
I like the Bloodborne world the most.
yeah,
so far.
it's really well done. I'm
I think
very
they put a
happy
lot
with
of
it. I'm
effort into
very
the Bloodborne one. Honestly, like Yesha and the other locations feel decent, but they
Yeah.
put a lot of love into the Bloodborne one. It feels like they put a lot of work into it.
yeah, and it paid
Awesome.
off big time.
Well,
Definitely.
that is Remnant. Again, you can find it on console. It's not on Game Pass. You can get it on Steam. I think that's it, right?
think it's
Results
worth it.
may
I don't know if
vary.
Is it
Remember, you
on
have 2
Epic?
hour refund period.
That is true. Yeah.
Is it on Epic? I don't know if it's on Epic.
Yes, it is. I think
it?
actually, yeah, because I
First
think
one
you
was.
can. I think you can sign up for an Epic Games. Originally when I logged into it, it was like, please enter your Epic Games. And I was like, nah, 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 bro.
I mean, it's
No, 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 no,
Gearbox
no.
published, so I would assume Gearbox and Epic are like two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, the other game that just released.
One last thing.
Okay.
Sorry. It is not crossplay. So if
Not
you
possible.
Yeah.
Yep.
if you're wanting to play with friends, make sure you get on the
They-
same console. They're
they
probably
have-
going to add it in the future,
That's
like
what-
they did
that's what I was
Remnant
about to say.
1.
They have come out and said that they want to have crossplay within like the first 4 or 5 months of the release, but
Would have been nice
We'll
at
see if
launch,
that-
but yeah.
we'll see if that happens or not.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks again for checking out the Patch Notes, part of the Pre-Patch Podcast, which we do live every Thursday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Or you can check us out on anchor.fm/Pre-Patch Podcast or any place that podcasts are listened to. Thanks again. Much love.